afternoon, Twitch chat. We are back with day 4 of live voice recording. This one's going to be a little bit of a short stream. I couldn't really find too many roles, doing this periodically day by day. Not too many projects are going to be releasing each and every single day, but I found just a little bit, just to tide us over, just to get me back into the swing of things. I don't have a script to read off of, so I guess to have the time go by over a little quicker, well, I mean, not quicker, but a little longer, I can do a read-through of a script that I have, that I read yesterday, just to, get some more practice in with my voice, and honestly, it would be good to start off with it, to practice, so I honestly should pull that up. But before we even begin, I gotta go into what auditions got shortlisted, or what auditions got dismissed, rather, which only one that I saw so far, which is good. It's pretty good, one is fine. I'd rather not get dismissed at all, if I can help it, but it doesn't really seem to be too much the case. Par for the course, yada yada. And if I can find the script that I had pulled up before, where is it? Because I don't want to read another narrator's thing that they already did. Yeah, I can just pull this one back up. Also, we have changed the trajectory of the music. I put in some new music, and honestly, I'm kind of messing with it. Got some Smash, got some Metaphor. Very, very good soundtrack selections. Lots of Final Fantasy, some Sonic, I had to change it up. Some of it is gonna be a little weird, because most of it includes like cutscene music, rather, or just random, 10-second sound bites, but it's cool. It's whatever. Hopefully the majority of what music plays is just gonna be straight up full-length music. But enough yapping. I should go ahead and get right into it. So VLC, go bye-bye, and open up the voice acting thing, and then display my monitor. Alright, so you all can see me there in the corner, which is good. And just to get some voice practice in, I'm just going to read off of the script. So here we go. Chapter 3, Ukyo. She was pretty sure that Shisu's fortress had been sealed up after that. It was strange to find something from that place here. Even if the things in the fortress had been moved, to have it appear on the market in a city meant that it had been smuggled in. If it was like that, Mau Mau had an idea too. The perpetrator was soon found in 2 days. Speaking of how he was found, it was easy, Lihaku said with annoyance. While he was saying that, he was restlessly looking inside Rokushikan. They were inside the pharmacy that Mau Mau operated. He had to shrink down his large body to get into the narrow space. While he was saying that, he glanced up at the ceiling of the stairwell and searched for the face of the flower on the upper floor. Lihaku, a military officer she was acquainted with, had fallen for Pyrene, one of the 3 princesses of Rokushikan here. However, the act of visiting the brothel itself required money, and so, if Mau Mau, who was on good terms with Pyrene, asked him for a favor, he would be accommodating. She wanted him to stand watch since the stolen goods, a ransacked archive, might appear in town. That was what she requested of him. Unusual stolen goods like illustrated books could be easily traced from the point of sale. Just in case, as there was also the possibility of them being disposed of in shops aside from that bookstore, she left it to Lihaku, just like so. Did he want to show his extremely good side? It seems he worked hard himself. To be on the lookout in a still, cold season, that was appreciative of his... Oh my god, messed that one up entirely. Did he want to show his extremely good side? It seems he worked hard himself. To be on the lookout in a still, cold season, that was appreciative of his efforts. Lihaku passed a package in his hands to Mau Mau. It seemed to be a gift of Dongo. Then he glanced at the stairwell again. Drink tea with everyone, then call for Pyrene to come. Could that be what he means? However, there was one thing to do before that. Mau Mau looked out the window. There was a skinny, seedy-looking man being surrounded by two manservants. With rashes on his face, the man certainly looked like a criminal. Ignoring Lihaku, Mau Mau put on her shoes. She walked over to the manservants. The criminal that was being surrounded by the two brawny manservants appeared smaller than he looked. The senior manservant said, grabbing Mau Mau by the collar. It was unpleasant to be treated like a cat, but there was nothing she could do since that was how it had been ever since she was young. Mau Mau regarded the criminal in that posture. The criminal and her eyes met. She had thought it was rashes, but it looked like he got an irritation from something. Though mostly healed, it was still conspicuous. The criminal stared at Mau Mau's face, and then he paled, and then asked for what came out of his mouth. He cried out, spittle flying. Mau Mau narrowed her eyes. The two manservants looked at each other and burst into laughter. On top of not remembering people's faces well, she wasn't sure with his face covered in rashes, but if she remembered properly, this man was the one from the fortress. The man whom Mau Mau had smeared lacquer on his face, who fainted when his crotch got stomped on. Mau Mau realized. This meant that he was one of the people who escaped from that fortress during the confusion. Mau Mau crossed her arms and thought for a short while. Lihaku showed up and glared at the criminal. The criminal blatantly shuddered. Mau Mau declared in an indifferent voice, then grinned at the criminal. Lihaku looked like he thought that Mau Mau's behavior was slightly strange, but the moment Mau Mau brought in tea snacks and called for Pyrene, he left with his tail wagging. And so now in Mau Mau's pharmacy was Mau Mau, the criminal in question, and... Mau Mau said, looking at the senior manservant in annoyance. As everyone was in the middle of starting tea, it was only this man who went with Mau Mau. Shrewdly, he was holding Dongo in his hands. The fox would be the monocle tactician, and the mask would have to be Genshi. The man still had plenty of value despite his face being damaged goods. On top of his mere appearance being eye-catching enough as it was, it must be all the more considering his position. It shouldn't be good for that which was the imperial brother to loiter in the pleasure district. However, he was a whimsical person who came here once every 10 days. He said, leaning against the wall. The manservant was reaching his 40s and had been here before Mau Mau was born. His name is Ukyo, a man who... okay, I have to read that part again. He said, leaning against the wall. The manservant was reaching his 40s and had been here before Mau Mau was born. His name is Ukyo, a man who had handled anything flawlessly. Who had handled? That's not what it says. Okay, redo. He said, leaning against the wall. The manservant was reaching his 40s and had been here before Mau Mau was born. His name is Ukyo, a man who handled anything flawlessly. In any case, the madam must have told him. He said he won't hear, but it was a given that he would tell if the madam asked. If it comes down to that, She could only talk of the part where she wouldn't be troubled even if the madam asks. Mau Mau thought as she regarded the man sitting before her. There were 2 books set out on the wooden floor. It was what Mau Mau had found in the bookstore and what this man had come to sell today. At Mau Mau's question, the man turned his face away in a huff. Okay, I don't know why I said it like that. At Mau Mau's question, the man turned his face away in a huff. It was a somewhat understandable reaction, but honestly, he didn't have that liberty. If he sold it elsewhere, there was the possibility that it would be bought by another person. Mau Mau slapped the floor. She said slowly in a low voice. The man paled. Seeing that his rat... Okay, redo. She said slowly in a low voice. The man paled. Seeing that his face rashes were still pitiful, Mau Mau felt a little guilty, but she didn't really regret it since there was no way for her to make an allowance for the other person who escaped from that place. Ukyo mindlessly stuffed his cheeks with dango and chewed slowly. The man pursed his lips and lowered his head in resignation. If the fire didn't spread to that room from the gunpowder explosion, the rest of the books might be retrievable. In that case, the issue was the remaining 2 volumes that were sold. The bird and fish illustrated books were in her hands. Mau Mau twisted her neck. There were numbers allocated to the bird illustrated book. If there was one labeled 1, there would be bound to be a 2. In response to Mau Mau, who spoke overbearingly, Ukyo, who had been standing on the side the whole time, sighed deeply. He said, then sat down on the wooden floors of the cramped pharmacy and slapped the man's shoulders. The man said nothing, but Ukyo left the pharmacy without a word. Soon after, he returned with a tray with a bowl full of rice and a side dish. The side dish was nothing other than the remainders of the simmered locust, but when the man was presented with chopsticks from Ukyo, he devoured the bowl with no hesitation. Mau Mau was shocked by his vigor. Ukyo slapped Mau Mau's shoulders. The man who was busy eating took no notice of them. Ukyo whispered. Mau Mau's first impression of him was that, so she couldn't say anything. I read that wrong. Mau Mau's first impression of... Okay. Mau Mau's first impression of him was that, so she couldn't say anything. If the madam was the stick of Rokushikan, the head manservant would have to be the carrot. The old man wasn't tall, nor was his face good, but him being popular with the courtesans must be from this. The unkempt man who had been eating ravenously stopped moving his chopsticks. Ukyo looked with his head tilted. The man said as he picked up a locust with his chopsticks. Mau Mau and Ukyo peered at the man. The man picked at the pile of simmered insects, bit at them one by one, and sorted them out. Split into 2 piles, the ratio would have to be around 1 to 8. Ukyo returned. Honestly, she didn't know that grasshoppers and locusts have that kind of difference. Mau Mau had put them together without thinking hard about it. That explained it. There was no doubt that owner was a good business partner. Locust 1 part, grasshopper 8 parts. No wonder it was disgusting. Mau Mau reached out for the locust and put it in her mouth. Certainly, she felt that this side had meat and was tastier. The man made a serious look and stared at the grasshoppers. At those words, Mau Mau drew close to the man. Considering the ratio of grasshoppers and locusts, it should be sufficient. Mau Mau stared at the man. He might not have emotionally wanted to take the lacquerware, but a normal guy would choose something that would sell easier than books. The man scratched the back of his head with a little embarrassment. No, let's not mention that there was one here. Honestly, the man only had the clothes on his back. It was fine since it was still winter, but she was honestly against him coming into the pharmacy with grime on his face. Mau Mau widened her eyes at the unexpected topic. He pointed at the grasshoppers. He studied that, the man said. Mau Mau gulped, and it was the moment she opened her mouth to ask the man. The door of the pharmacy was opened with a loud bang. As he was going to call out to him, the man's mouth was gapped stupidly. Mau Mau grabbed some mashed medicinal herbs nearby and crammed it in his mouth. She was sorry that he was suffering, but he was going to speak of something very ominous, so it can't be helped. Since the Shi clan should have been exterminated in the eyes of society, Joe watched a man who was rolling on the floor in amusement. Cho didn't seem to recognize the man. He naturally ignored him. While feeling grateful towards Ukyo, who skillfully sidestepped the boy's condition, Mau Mau bent her fingers and counted. It was better to get a heads up just in case. She counted how many days left until Jinshi came to visit. Okay, alright. So script read through, practice run of that went well. Went just as well as I wanted to, at least. So that's great. That's good. I'm going to go ahead and exit out of this, and we're going to go ahead and get into another thing that I'm supposed to be reading over. I'm going to go and do some actual casting call club stuff. But again, like I said before that, we'll open up the other one and check out my submissions from before. So again, the one that got dismissed was from the ones that we did yesterday. One of them that we did yesterday. So I didn't make the cut for this one, and the rest have been unreviewed or have been reviewed. None have been shortlisted or whatever the case may be. So nice, good. We'll just go ahead and do this. So this is actually on another separate tab, but it's for this, I guess, podcast for Naruto. And I'm going to audition for the narrator role. So now I need to open up Audacity before anything. I should have already had this open to begin with. And I'm just going to read, I guess, just these 3 lines. They're not asking for, like, any sort of utter read over, but I will do my best to implement the narration feel. Every inch of the Hidden Leaf village was bathed in bright light from the midday sun. A stalwart settlement founded long ago by 2 young men with a larger-than-life dream. The place now stood as a living example of the power of people of different backgrounds coming together in cooperation with one another. Buildings towered over bustling citizens. Rooftops of varying shapes and sizes popped with striking color. A stone monument overlooked the massive village. Several faces representing key figures in the village's history were carved into the rock face, making a powerful statement even to the unfamiliar traveler. This was a place that endured across generations, a place worthy of respect. Yet it was this same picturesque landmark where a tiny blonde boy laughed maniacally, splashing a bold streak of paint across the nose of one of its icons. Naruto Uzumaki blinked as bits of paint sprayed his face, looking up with admiration at his latest feat. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and cut out the last bit of the recording because again, loud cars, loud everything. Please tell me that it has saved. No, it didn't. It didn't save the room tone. So I'm actually just going to borrow this, copy it, put it into noise reduction, get the noise profile for it first, and apply it over the entirety of the audio. Noise reduction, Bing. And that should be good. At least I hope. Go ahead and save the project. Oh, shoot. Alright, that should be good. And then I just need to export it and send it through. And honestly, it's kind of a fun thing to read over, so I will do that after I put my audition in, my submission, and boop. I have so many different audio files. There we go. And then I guess I can include my Discord as part of the course. Wow, if I can spell correctly. Oh my goodness. There we go. Perfect. Oh yeah, this one is... actually, no. I said this was going to be a short stream, so I might as well just do that and end it there for the Naruto one. Alright, next one is this. So go ahead, Audacity, and open up another file. And this one actually wanted... Oh, no, AABBCC. Just need to read it through. But since these are short, I'll read them 2 times over. Someone accustomed to monotony with melancholic or emotional gestures in their voice. It's the same story every year for these unfortunate people. They weren't the only victims of these unpleasant events, as the rat infestation grew so much after the incident. It's the same story every year for these unfortunate people. They weren't the only victims of these unpleasant events, as the rat infestation grew so much after the incident. Oh my god, the train is blaring again. It just stopped. It just did that like 2 seconds ago. But I'm glad I got this one out of the way before all these loud noises I'm hearing start happening. I don't know if it did it or not. Let's see. I did. Yeah, I think that's okay. I mean, I at least hope it's okay. Save project as narrator and then A. Yeah, narrator A. That should be good. Way too many narrator audio files I have in my computer. Now let's see if I can easily find it. Yep, perfect. And just need to put my Discord in again. Boop 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 boop. All right, perfect. Now this is gonna be fun, because I think this one said they wanted 1 to 2 takes ABC. So I read through the first bit of lines and then I do it again. We'll have less direction during record. Yeah. All right, perfect. Let's do it. Let's cook. Small dust particles floated through the dissipating rays of light as a summer afternoon began to dwindle and welcome the evening. All right, I'm getting a little bit too aggressive there, I feel. Small dust particles floated through the dissipating rays of light as a summer... Why am I saying light like that? Light. Like, that's not how you say that word normally. Small dust particles floated through the dissipating rays of light as a summer afternoon began to dwindle and welcome the evening. Toshiro Hikari, known as Shiro the Most, kept the broom in his hand, sweeping to and fro as if in a trance. A trance that helped take his mind off of the task at hand. Cleaning the dojo. A bead of sweat rolled down his forehead, past his brow, and teased his eyelashes, prompting him to wipe it away while running his hand through his silvery white hair. He glanced around the room, his eyes lazily scanning the area still awaiting his attention. It wasn't that he disliked being at the dojo, and the Red Dragon compensated him generously enough. Oh my god, there's like fucking 2 million cars passing by. Holy shit. Oh my god, alright. Let's just delete that recording and try it again. Small dust particles floated through the dissipating rays of light as the summer afternoon began to dwindle and welcome the evening. Toshiro Hikari, known as Shiro the Most, kept the broom in his hand, sweeping to and fro as if in a trance. A trance that helped take his mind off of the task at hand, cleaning the dojo. A bead of sweat rolled down his forehead, past his brow, and teased his eyelashes, prompting him to wipe it away while running his hand through his silvery white hair. He glanced around the room, his eyes lazily scanning the area still awaiting his attention. It wasn't that he disliked being at the dojo, and Red Dragon compensated him generously for his age. But being surrounded by others paid to live out the dream he longed for was enough to dampen even the brightest spirits. Shinsuke closed his eyes as he took a long draw of the cigarette, one the embers on the end glowing. I don't know if I need to, let me just delete that actually. Long draw of the cigarette. I mean, I still have the playback volume at 70. Maybe I should put it 75. I think that's at 75. No, it's not. There we go. Let me just. Yeah. And then I'll just record from the ending. There we go. One, the embers on the end glowing. Oh, I guess that meant to say the embers on the end glowing, but probably pressed 1 by mistake. Sick. The embers on the end glowing. He held the smoke before letting it drift out of his nose and rolling his neck as if trying to ease some hidden tension. Kuro stepped over to his desk and picked up a small device, holding it out in front of Shinsuke. Shinsuke placed a cigarette into his mouth, grabbed the crudely crafted device with both hands, and turned it over to examine it. It was a small metal box, its surface covered with exposed wires and a single switch on the side. With the squeal of glee, Atticus vaulted over the railing and took off into the night after Kuro. Nathaniel followed with silent purpose, but just as much vigor. In the distance, Kuro was still running. His feet slammed against the pavement, his breath ragged as he darted between the maze of alleyways, ducking in the shadows, hoping, praying that he had put enough distance between himself and Driscoll's. But little did he know that Nathaniel and Atticus Driscoll, the two feared generals of the desperados of the 309, were already in pursuit. And in this game, he was the prey. Let me see if my voice kind of matched up with the ending of this. On draw of the cigarette, the embers on the end glowing. He held the smoke before letting it. Yeah, I mean, I guess it sounded good enough. I just need to. Wow, it's gonna take a while for me to do that. I'm just gonna 1 by 1, yeah. And then I need to do another read through of it too, just in a different voice. All right. Should be good. All right, here we go. Small dust particles floated through the dissipating rays of light as the summer afternoon began to dwindle and welcome the evening. Toshio Hikari, known as Shiro the Most, kept the broom in his hand, sweeping to and fro as if in a trance that helped take his mind off of the task at hand, cleaning the dojo. A bead of sweat rode down his forehead, past his brow, and teased his eyelashes, prompting him to wipe it away while running his hand through his silvery white hair. He glanced around the room, his eyes lazily scanning the area still awaiting his attention. It wasn't that he disliked being at the dojo, and Red Dragon compensated him generously for his age, but being surrounded by others paid to live out the dream he longed for was enough to dampen even the brightest spirit. Oh my god. Nope, that was wrong. Let me just delete this entire section, because how did I fuck that up? Delete this section too. But being surrounded by others paid to live out the dream he longed for was enough to dampen even the brightest spirits. Shinsuke closed his eyes as he took a long draw of the cigarette, the embers on the end glowing. He held the smoke before letting it drift out of his nose and rolling his neck as if trying to ease some hidden tension. Kuro stepped over to his desk and picked up a small device, holding it out in front of Shinsuke. Shinsuke placed the cigarette into his mouth, grabbed the crudely crafted device with both hands, and turned it over to examine it. It was a small metal box, its surface covered with exposed wires and a single switch on the side. With a squeal of glee, Atticus vaulted over the railing and took off into the night after Kuro. Nathaniel followed with silent purpose, but just as much vigor. In the distance, Kuro was still running. His feet slammed against the pavement, his breath ragged as he darted between a maze of alleyways, ducking in the shadows, hoping, praying that he had been put enough. That he had been put enough? What does that even mean? That he had been put enough? That's not what the line says. If only I could read English properly. Okay. Yeah, okay. Hoping is where it last left off at. Praying that he had put enough distance between himself and Driscoll's. But little did he know that Nathaniel and Atticus Driscoll, the two feared generals of the desperados of the 309, were already in pursuit. And in this game, he was the prey. Oh, I had to do 3 whole separate things of that. That's insane. Playback. Yeah. Let's delete a little bit of this. Okay, that's perfect. Shout out Audacity, making it easier to do things, rather. Audio editing, Jesus. I need to take this and then apply the noise reduction here. Yup. Same with this one right here. Noise reduction. Alright. They should all be good. But little did he know that Nathaniel and Atticus Driscoll. Hopefully this sounds good. God, I hope it sounds good. Alright. Narrator RW. Yeah, there we go. And then I need to export that audio as per usual. Go ahead and upload it. I mean, I guess it would be easier for me to type in the audio that I'm looking for, but I mean, honestly, scroll wheel works in my favor sometimes. But there we go. All right, I put that one in. So just two more to do. Sound like Wirt from Over the Garden Wall and Connie from Steven Universe. Early Connie. Ooh, I mean, I can try. I definitely can try. Okay, well, what is that thing? Thank you for saving me, by the way, but what the heck is that thing you just stabbed in the eye? Okay, well, what is that thing? Thank you for saving me, by the way, but what the heck is that thing you just stabbed in the eye? Why did I have to follow that thing? It was clearly not friendly. I mean, it didn't even look human. I am such an idiot. I am so stupid. Oh, why did I follow that thing? It was clearly not friendly. I mean, it didn't even look human. I am such an idiot. I am so stupid. What if that means that I have to spend the rest of my time there knowing I can't do the one thing I went there to do? What if I realize that I spent 3 years away from home for absolutely nothing? What if it means that I have to spend the rest of my time there knowing that I can't do the one thing I went there to do? Oh my god. Wow, I am messing that up. Impressively. Holy shit. I don't even know where it starts at. Um where does this begin at? Here. I'm just gonna delete all of this. Yeah. And then do it again. Also, I think this one wanted me to do it twice over, right? Time to scroll up and find out. You may record up to 3 takes. Okay. But yeah, it wanted me to do AABBCC. Perfect. What if that means that I have to spend the rest of my time there knowing I can't do the one thing I went there to do? What if I realize that I spent 3 years away from home for absolutely nothing? Mm-hmm. Go to sleep, go to sleep. Noise removal, noise reduction. There. Yes, yes, loud car number 5. Thank you. Thank you for always being the loudest cars in existence. I think this is good. What if that means that I have to spend the rest of my time there knowing I can't do the one thing I went there to do? Save project as... Wow. Minnow. And then export. Yep. Perfect. What else can I audition for? Female. Ooh, I love this one. Hold on. As soon as I saw the butcher, I was like, yeah, that sounds like something that'll be good for me. Nothing. Nothing that you aren't already willing to give away. I must say that you are younger than most of those who land here. But I believe fate is what brought you to me. Nothing. Nothing that you aren't willing. Okay. Alright. Messed that up immediately off rip. We love that. Wait until loud ass car number 50 passes. Nothing. Nothing that you aren't already willing to give away. I must say that you are younger than most of those who land here. But I believe fate is what brought you to me. Worthless. Hated. Unlovable. Putrid. Worthless. Hated. Unlovable. Putrid. Be quiet. All of you are leeches and have defiled my name for the final time. Be quiet. All of you are leeches and have defiled my name for the final time. Too many lip pops, you know, too many pops, too many everything, actually. Oh my god. Holy hell. Can I not just have my mouth be, I don't know, not popping? Jesus Christ. Okay, let's see if I can just take this file and Police sirens? Yes. The staple of my city. Love it. You know what, actually, I don't even claim this city. City kind of sucks, not gonna lie. Save project as... Wow. Yeah, that's perfect. That's like the one thing everybody wants to hear when they're recording. So good. Wow, I did not mean to do that. I'm not done looking. The Secret Keeper? New. You got a lot of nerve to come into my home without an invitation. You got a lot of nerve to come into my home. Okay, I didn't read the thing in parentheses. I didn't read the thing in parentheses. Wow, cut the audio. Thank you. You got a lot of nerve to come into my home without an invitation. You got a lot of nerve to come into my home without an invitation. My, that is quite the request. Few have ever asked me the location of such a sacred place. Well, if that is the knowledge you desire, I can give it to you. But first, what secret do you offer me in exchange? My, that is quite the request. Few have ever asked me the location of such a sacred place. Well, if that is the knowledge you desire, I can give it to you. But first, what secret do you offer me in exchange? What a fascinating work of ingenuity. Oh, and what's this? Is this sack how she powers it? What a fascinating work of ingenuity. Oh, and what's this? Is this sack how she powers it? Yeah, another good one. I hope. Another good one, I hope. Go ahead and apply that noise reduction. And woof. Save the project as the Secret Keeper. Boop. Wow, I wanted to export the audio, not whatever button I was just pressing. Alright. Female. I want a higher pitch.
Did you two like the little detour I sent you on? That's something else. You people are so obsessed with staying alive and having all your fluids inside your bodies, trying not to be so stiff sometimes.
Higher pitch. I don't think I could do that. I swear, if I hear about one more employee getting electrocuted by sticking a metal straw into a socket, I am going to kick someone's ass. Good. Now, before you clock out for today, I am going to need you to run these new power cords over to Station 23. They had a blowout earlier today. Just take one of our department shuttles over there, and I want you clocked out as soon as you hand over those cords. Capiche? Yeah, okay. Alright, Crow, you can stop doing whatever that is. I swear, if I hear about one more employee getting electrocuted by sticking a metal straw into a socket, I am going to kick someone's ass. I swear, if I hear one more about... Ooh. You know what? No. We're good. Yeah, I can't do that. I cannot do something like that. Alright, I'm gonna put these in, but while I'm doing that, I will leave you guys with some music, as usual. All right. This will be the final one, I think, to do. And this one is calling for a voice actor for this spooky thing. So hopefully I can do this one justice. Here we go. A broadcast signal intrusion, or signal hijacking, is a term to describe television cable broadcast signals being suddenly interrupted by a usually unknown party without permission. On the morning of the 25th of July 2005, on a Nickelodeon channel, what was intended to be a casual, uninterrupted rerun of the animated series SpongeBob SquarePants would be unexpectedly disrupted and would display bizarre visuals in its place along with unsettling glitches. Nickelodeon and wow, can I not say the word Nickelodeon right? Nickelodeon and world-renowned cable broadcast company Cloudycast would respond, apologizing for the inconvenience, and Cloudycast even stating it to be an isolated issue that occurred at a nearby facility. Nope, delete all that. Delete this whole entire thing, actually. Nickelodeon and world-renowned cable broadcast company Cloudycast would respond, apologizing for... Man, what the fuck are you doing? Can you, like, not say things properly, or you just... Come on now. Nickelodeon and world-renowned cable broadcast company Cloudycast would respond, apologizing for the inconvenience, and Cloudycast even stating it to be an isolated issue that occurred at a nearby facility. Go ahead and put that noise reduction in, and then do the same for this one. And luckily I don't have to do any loudness normalization, so that's pretty good. All right. I'm just gonna do that one. There we go. That is an interesting thing. Were you guys aware of that back in 2005 when that happened on Nickelodeon? Or did any of you get to, like, personally witness it? If you did, that's insane. I would be scared out of my mind if that happened. Where is it at? 725. Okay. All right. Include my Discord here. And then put that there. All right. Yeah. I mean, we cooked. We did a really good job today. Again, this was going to be a pretty short stream, not anything too long lasting. But before I do go, I do need to check another thing out. So bear with me for just a moment. I'm just going to, whoops. I'm just going to hide the window capture while I pull up Discord. Oh, okay. All right. Actually, I do have another thing that I'm going to read. Oh, wow. Screen capture did not. I did the wrong thing. Whoops. Oh, you guys get to see my Discord messages. Sorry. Where is the thing I'm looking for? It's not here. I thought I had the script pulled up. I don't think I have to personally pull it up myself. All right, let me correctly hide my screen. Well, window capture should still be Casting Call Club. Why the fuck isn't it? Oh, there we go. I had it minimized. Sorry. Ooh, someone's looking at my profile? Perfect. All right, let me go ahead and grab the script that I need to read before we head off here. And this character is supposed to sound like... what exactly? If I can find where I put in that submission. Alright, well, just go to the next page, please. Thank you. Oh my god, I don't know where it's at. Where did I put it at? Maybe it was from the past couple of things that I put in. That wouldn't make any sense. Yeah, no, these are from forever ago. For things I also didn't get to make it in. I don't wanna look back at that. Alright. Would it be in Chosen? No, it wouldn't be in Chosen. Reviewed? Oh, here we go. Okay. I just need to go back to the project page and see what this character needs to sound like. Oh, all right. Never mind. I'm just gonna go based off of my own intuition. All right, and boop, and open back up Audacity. Temple jump scare. Ooh. Open a new file, and let's do it. You've been quiet all day. I mean, well, quieter? Is this about... I'm sure they'll come in. Right. Well, I'm sure it'll be the best ever. Even if... What if you're not... Rem? Bye, Rem. Sarah, hi, Hey. Yeah, he thinks they won't come in. Right. Just a little bit of, just some little lines, little tiny baby lines, little itsy beatsy lines, but hopefully I cooked with these. So once I apply the noise removal, I'm gonna put it like that. There we go. And then save project as Nox. Audacity is actually behaving pretty well today, so that's pretty good. We love when the program decides to properly work. Alright, gonna go ahead and boop that for the display capture, and then I'm gonna send this over to my goat. Upload a file. Where is it at? Perfect. Alrighty. Cool. Cool. So we did that. And like I said, this is going to be a pretty short one because not too many projects were listed here, there, here and there, yada yada. But once again, thank you all for joining in. And I'm going to leave you guys with an ending soon screen and we're going to raid somebody. But yes, thank you all for joining in for this. I appreciate it. Bye.